So that's your ultimate goal. What about people who don't want to go to trial, who are afraid of the courtroom?
Well, the courtroom can be a scary place. Part of what I do is I try to take away the mystery. I try to make it so my clients can be more comfortable as the case progresses, so that by the time they need to make their decision, fear of the courtroom isn't going to be part of their decision anymore. And that's an important thing for a lawyer to do. That's what separates the real defenders from the amateurs and the escorts.
If I pick up the phone and give you a call and you end up taking my case, what would the process be that I'd be going through?
Well, first of all, the process probably would take 3 or 4 months, maybe longer. During that time, I would be doing a whole lot of work, and so would my staff, including our private investigator. We would be basically putting together what the prosecution's case would be against us and taking it apart. What you, my client, would need to do is basically show up in court when I tell you you have to be there, and let me know when you have questions about how things are going, and we'll sit down and talk about it. I don't quote people odds on their chance of winning at the beginning of the case or even at the middle until I've done all my work. So these 3 or 4 months is my working up their case, and I tell people, for right now, sit back. You got a first-class seat on Air Kessler. Let me fly the plane, and we'll talk later about how we're going to land.
Do you enjoy the courtroom fight?
I love it. I love it. I have been told by enough people that I believe it, I can't sing and I can't dance. So the courtroom is as close to showbiz as I'm ever going to get. I love it there.
What's your strategy when you're talking to a jury?
Well, first of all, I believe you should talk to jurors the way you talk to people in a bar. Just a conversation. I don't lecture to jurors. I don't yell at jurors. I try to get to know them a little, let them get to know me, and then I try to teach them why the state is wrong and why my client's not guilty of what he or she's been accused of. But I try to make it just a conversation.
And do juries respond to you?
Very well.
Now, we've been talking about alcohol, but of course drugs are a big factor in DUI cases as well, especially prescription drugs these days, right?
They certainly can be. And the police have a heightened credential, if you will. They send their cops to training to get drug recognition evaluator certificate. And so I took that class too, because I want to be able to point out to the jurors how silly that is. That's a great example of fake science. What the police do in that kind of an investigation is they look for what they're calling symptoms of drug impairment, and the symptoms can cover everything. No matter what you look like, it's a symptom of some particular drug or class of drugs. And it's silly. I had one poor lady, the police did a DRE evaluation, and they guessed marijuana. And they charged her with driving under the influence of marijuana. Now, they didn't smell any, they didn't find any, they didn't smell it on her breath, she didn't make any statements about it, but they arrested her, they charged her, she agreed to to submit to a urine test, and when they finally brought it back from the lab 3 months later, it was 0 cannabis. And she had taken a breath test, which was also 0. She just made a couple of driving mistakes, and they thought, well, she must be drunk.
That's an amazing story. So bottom line, if someone has a DUI arrest in Florida and they're on your website taking a look at you now, why should they give you a call?
Well, they should call me or somebody that's a real defender, because we make a difference. We make a difference in people's lives, and we work very hard to keep people from getting convicted. My feeling is nobody should volunteer to be punished by the government unless they have no choice at all. My job is to give them a choice.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.